Our guest for the next 20 minutes, really been looking forward to this conversation. Jeff Phillips, Communications and Outreach Manager for Laborers Local 663. Offices in Kleber and Kansas City. He's a Springfield guy, local guy. Got a lot of rich history and background in the area. Good morning.
Mount Vernon. I live in Springfield. I grew up in Mount Vernon. I'm a Lawrence County boy.
Well, I've got a daughter and son-in-law and family that live in Chesapeake and Mount Vernon. So
it's Chesapeake's Mount Vernon School District, so that's close enough.
There you go.
I used to work at the fish hatchery in Chesapeake when I was in college.
You've got a radio voice, my man.
Yeah, I did a little bit of this for a while.
Yeah? Tell our listeners about you and where.
Well, I do work for for Laborers Local 663. It's a construction union we represent construction laborers in 34 counties around western and southern Missouri. We come all the way to the Arkansas line, go over to Kansas, up to the Kansas City area, and east over around Lake of the Ozarks. So we're in 34 counties. I also do this for the Western Missouri and Kansas Laborers District Council, which also includes Local 579, which is about 14 or 15 counties up around St. Joseph, and then Local 319, which is Joplin, which is McDonald, Jasper, and Newton counties. And then also we have a couple of unions in Jackson County in the Kansas City area. And so we represent the hardworking men and women who are union laborers.
Very good. Well, it's an honor to have you today.
Thank you.
Looking forward.
I'm happy to be here and to address a couple of points from earlier. Number one, I had the Atari, the Sears knockoff version. I had Telegames. That was our Christmas present. Christmas 1980, my senior year of high school. Our parents got us the Atari, the Sears knockoff. But it was same games. Got to play Pitfall and River Raid and all those things. And shameless plug for my buddy Brett Goforth and Countryside Barbecue, which is right across from Incredible Pizza. They have grills and sauces and rubs, and I have become a almost expert pit master since I've been doing stuff with my friend Brett and using my grill that I got from him. So
Brett was a big part of a barbecue show we have on Saturday.
Yes, he's with Steve and Lyndall.
Yeah. And so I had no idea Countryside existed until that show.
Well, now you know.
Now
you know again.
Yeah, I do. I've been in and purchased some rubs and things from Brett. He's a great guy. And
I knew Brandon Beck when he was an intern 20-some years ago when I worked in my first tour of duty at KY3 back in the 90s.
We'll see. Someday we're going to bring you and Joel Alexander in at 7:30 when Brandon comes on. And you guys can sneak up on Brandon and just have all kinds of fun.
Joel and I are old friends. In fact, he and his wife Lisa are godparents of our daughter Miranda. So
small world.
It's about 25,000 miles around. So it's not that small.
Crazy stuff. All right, let's get to the issues at hand here. There is a couple of things. Well, one thing now on the ballot. You were telling me off the air that the prevailing wage has reached some
prevailing
kind of
wage has been, for now anyway, it has been resolved. There was a compromise bill that was approved in the legislature on the last day of the session, which was, I believe, the 18th, and it raised. We were looking at a total repeal, which would have been disastrous. What they did reach was a compromise which raises the threshold for what is a prevailing wage job. And just to let people know, prevailing wage, basically it's minimum wage for public works construction projects, roads, bridges, schools. And they were talking about getting rid of that. Fortunately, that did not happen. They raised the threshold for what kicks in prevailing wage from, it was $2,500. Anything above $2,500 required prevailing wage to be paid. That's been raised to $75,000. So there was a compromise bill that, we're not crazy about anything that reduces our memberships or anyone's opportunity to earn a good family wage, but facing the alternative of a total repeal, this is something that we can live with. So that's all. That's not an issue anymore.
So what is the wage, minimum wage for somebody working a construction job?
Honestly, it depends on where you are.
Okay.
It is a different wage in Kansas City. It's a different wage in St. Louis. It's a different wage in the Springfield area, the Joplin area, each area, and it's calculated by basically what has been paid previously on similar work. So it's, there's a formula to calculate it. Contractors and the unions that represent their workers, and even, and I want to say it too, I want to point this out, that it's not just limited to union workers. Anybody who works on a public works construction job that is subject to prevailing wage will be paid that. And there are a number of non-union contractors in the area. Blevins Asphalt from Mount Vernon, for one, from my hometown, and they get jobs that pay prevailing wage, and so their employees get the benefit of a prevailing wage, same as the union workers that we represent. So it's it's a good thing, and I think it's like anything else. You get what you pay for. True. And when you pay a higher wage, I think there's a greater stake in making sure that it gets done right and gets done safely.
So will this come back up in the next legislative session?
Who knows?
Okay.
The Proposition A, right to work, right, and just to kind of clarify, people, we've been hearing right to work. Since I was in high school,
Sure.
Missouri voted on right to work in 1978, which was my sophomore year of high school, and so we that is something that was decided by about a 60% majority. Missouri voted no on it, but it's never gone away. This past year, after Governor Greitens signed the right to work legislation, it was approved by the legislature. Working people around Missouri mobilized, collected about 350,000 signatures to put this to a public vote.
Uh-huh.
And that was about twice or three times what was actually necessary to put this to a public vote. The Secretary of State Ashcroft affirmed the signatures in November of last year and placed it on the November ballot. So we asked for it to be placed on the November ballot. It was placed on the November ballot, and then we started getting whispers from Jefferson City that there was going to be an attempt to move it from November to August, which is what took place. So you never know what's going to happen one day to next.
Let me push the timeout button here for just a second. Why was it moved from November to August?
You would have to ask the people who were behind that.
Which was
there was a Republican state representative from, I think, southeast Missouri who forwarded the legislation. We knew, we probably knew the entire session that this was coming, and as it happens, it did not officially get done until I think the
midnight
hour. The day before the session adjourned.
Mm-hmm.
We've known it was coming. Honestly, whether we vote on it in November, whether we vote on it in August, it's still wrong. It's still bad for working people, and we're happy to fight this battle whenever, wherever, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this and fight against it come August.
Well, clearly somebody feels like there's an advantage to having it in August. I guess that's ultimately what I'm fishing for here. What's the advantage of having it in August?
Honestly, I think if you got down to it, and on it, to be kind of cynical about it, I think there may have been some thinking that by moving it from November to August, primaries typically have lower turnout.
Uh-huh.
You're trying to put it before a smaller pool
crowd
of voters.
Okay.
So, we still, we had 350,000 people sign petitions last year.
Well, clearly
people feel pretty strongly about it.
I think so. Well, one thing we've learned from the last couple of elections, people will show up when there's something there that they feel like they need to be there for, they'll show up. So that strategy may or may not work of moving it to August to prevent people from showing up.
We'll see.
Jeff Phillips is our guest. We're going to take a quick break, check in with Brandon one more time, get you some national sports, ABC entertainment news. We come back and we'll talk more about Proposition A here in Missouri. Coming up on the KICK Morning Show, presented by Priority Pest Control, 887-9322, online at PriorityPestControl.net.